everybody. I am Dr. Cindy, and welcome to the Positively Altered podcast. I am a chiropractic nutritionist and internist, and even more recently, an author of the book called Positively Altered, Finding Happiness at the Bottom of a Chemo Bag. Today, I want to share something really kind of cool with you. I met somebody absolutely fabulous when I was speaking at Logan University. She was our keynote speaker, and she had me do something very interesting when I first met her. I had to pull out my cell phone and take a selfie. And while I'm not of the generation that does this pretty regularly, it was really interesting because the first inclination I had was to fix my hair and check my makeup, which I don't even wear that much of. But, what if the eyeliner is smeared? And then I thought to myself, what if I just go ahead and do the duck lips like all the young people do in the picture? I can't even do that well. The duck lips to make that selfie really exciting. And then I realized I got that all wrong. So some of you out there are probably wondering, what the heck am I talking about? So to keep you interested, I'm going to leave you all there. We're going to take a really quick break. I want you to listen to a couple sponsors because they're super important to me because they support the show. And then we're going to be right back and I'm going to introduce you to my most fabulous guest.
Hello, my name is Heather Lord, and I am the COO of Professional Health Products. Cutting corners is an all too common practice in the dietary supplement industry. When my father founded Professional Health Products, he sourced the cleanest, most biologically active ingredients from around the globe. Today, that commitment remains, which is why the finest healthcare practitioners, like Dr. Cindy, have trusted us for more than 40 years. We oversee the entire process in our manufacturing facility, from sourcing and formulation to manufacturing and labeling. Today, we offer over 300 unique products that can be tailored to the nutritional and homeopathic needs of each individual. Most recently, we launched a proprietary genetic test, allowing our practitioners to get even more dialed in to their patients' health. To learn more about Professional Health Products, please talk to your practitioner or visit our website at phpltd.com.
Today, your life is going to be altered. I'm Dr. Cindy.
Welcome to Infinity. We have worked hard to create an electronic claims website that is simple and user-friendly. This is the public side. You can log into your personal web portal here. This is your dashboard. You can personalize it to your liking here. Our main focus has been to allow you to submit and edit claims as easy as possible. You will find our claims editor and claims processing is simple to use and straightforward. Our quick action bar is where you can find your most important information. Most of these icons will take you directly to the claims the number represents. You can easily view if you have any messages in your inbox of any unread alerts by looking for these blue numbers. To view the rest of our training videos to get the most of your Infinity experience, click this icon. We hope you find this web portal simple and easy to use. Thanks for letting us serve you.
I'm Dr. Cindy. Who wouldn't want to join me for the Positively Altered podcast? Thanks for coming back. I'm glad you hung in there because this guest is not to be missed. I want to introduce you to Sylvie di Giusto. And I tried to say that with my Italian accent, even though I probably have zero Italian in my background, but that's okay. She is an expert in modern emotional intelligence. So I'm going to try to hang with her. I like to think that I'm pretty smart when it comes to emotional intelligence, but we're going to find out today. And she is also an author of a book called The Image of Leadership. Welcome, Sylvie. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you very much for having me, Dr. Cindy. I'm so excited to see you again. Nowadays, connections usually happen somewhere online. And if you are lucky, you meet that person in real life one day. In our case, it was the other way around. We met first in person, and now I can see you again online. And that is really exciting. I remember the moment when I saw you in that audience. Quite frankly, you were standing out, and not because of your duck lips, because of many other things.
That's funny because I thought you stood out as well. And maybe we can talk about the things that I think made you stand out as well as me stand out so that the audience can understand. And I guess maybe that makes us also old fashioned, right? That we did it the old way where
Yes,
you actually
exactly.
communicate in person, which I love.
And we actually talked with each other in
Right?
person and not
Who
via
does that
text
anymore?
message from room to room.
I know it's so great. And even though now on the podcast we're doing it through technology, I know that there's going to be times in the future where we're back in that same room. So I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. I want to just jump right in here, right? You have this mantra. It's pretty interesting, and you talk about 7 seconds, right? 7 seconds, and it's like, sounds like an interesting movie, but it's not a movie at all. It's really about first impression and how we have 7 seconds to make this impression and how important it is. So let's just get right to it. Tell everybody, what's the deal with 7 seconds?
May I share a secret with you?
Please.
It actually doesn't matter how many seconds. I just picked 7 seconds because it's the result of one studies, but there are other studies out there that say it takes milliseconds to make a first impression. Some studies say it takes 13 seconds to make a first impression. Some say it takes 6. I just randomly picked the one with 7 seconds and 11 decisions. And what they all have in common, though, all those studies and all the research, is that we instantly form an opinion about somebody the moment we interact with them. Now, in the past, as you know, those interactions most often happened in person. But nowadays, actually, you are lucky if they happen in person because most of the time they happen in some sort of digital way. We email with each other, we Google each other's name on social media, we connect on virtual meetings, or like here today with you on a podcast. And what the researcher says is that in the first moments of interacting with somebody, we instantly think that we believe we know something about this person. I use this study with 7 seconds that describes the 11 decisions that we might make. But here's the thing with studies and research. You can obviously never take the results as they are written down on paper for 100% true and right and correct. It depends on the situation. If you are in a dating situation, your brain is consciously looking for different factors than when you are in an interview situation. But fact is, we instantly form first impressions and opinions about somebody. And unfortunately, those milliseconds are so important because afterwards very powerful sources are working against you. I share in my keynotes the concept of unconscious biases and the different biases that work against you. Like, for example, one is confirmation bias. People just want to be right. They look subconsciously for confirmation and ignore anything that goes against their first initial opinion about you. So if somebody thinks in the first moment you are lazy or rude or, has some sort of negative impression of you, their brain instantly looks for confirmation and they find all the proof for the fact that they are correct, whatever they think about you. But you can also use this to your advantage. If you make a powerful first impression and they instantly experience you as somebody who cares or trustworthy or reliable or fun or happy or kind or whatever you want it to be, their brain is looking for proof too.
So I like to think that I'm not very judgmental, but that's not really the case, is it? I'm always judging or being judged based on that first impression. So you just made a comment that there's, I think it was 11 characteristics you said, or 11 decisions that our brain makes, right? Is there one that's more important than the other, or are they all kind of equal in value?
They all kind of equal, and there is no proof that it's really those 11 decisions. It's just the result of one of those studies or that research. But I am biased, and so are you. And so is everybody else, because we all grew up in different environments with different parents and families, surrounded by mentors and friends in different parts of the world with different religions and values. So we don't come with a ground zero programming. We all are already influenced basically the moment we step foot on this beautiful planet Earth. And because our brain is actually quite lazy, it goes back to those past experiences when it needs to in order to save energy. And then we rely more on what we have experienced and learned in the past than on new unfiltered information or decisions that we would should make, right? So we are all biased. And the reality is it has nothing to do with the fact if you're a good human being or a bad human being, if you are in your body or in the body of Mother Teresa.
So how often do we get it wrong, our first impression?
I can't tell you, but most often probably we get it wrong depending on the circumstances we are in, the situation, the occasion, but also in terms of how aware is the person in front of us about their first impression, right? What I help audiences to understand is that with a toolbox that I call the ABCDE, they can influence others to the better, to their advantage, and imprint something in those first moments so that unconscious biases work in their favor. Now, if somebody does that purposefully and intentionally, it's a great result for me. If somebody does it purposefully, intentionally to create harm, for example, well, then it's not such a great result for me. However, the reality is you can influence those first micro moments and at least set the stage. I always tell my audience members, why would you give away the power of others letting define how you are perceived when you have the tools to influence them?
I love that. Okay, so let's tear me apart a little bit,
Yeah.
right? Let's make me your subject. So whether I'm standing on stage to an audience or I walk into my exam room with a patient, I obviously want to exude confidence.
Mhm.
I want to exude trust. I want to exude that I care, right? There's
Mhm.
certain characteristics. So what would I do in terms of that first impression that would be really important or essential so that I could exude those things to the people that I'm trying to affect?
Yes. So first, it's a combination of how you would like to be perceived and what the expectations of your industry and your profession are. Let's first talk about how you would like to be perceived. Most often, to be honest, my audience members or coaching clients, they pick words just like you: trust, reliability. You know, I call them high prestigious words or 5-star descriptors. They make us feel warm and cozy about ourselves if we would just be perceived that way. But the reality is we just pick them because society over the years has taught us that those are good words in terms of perception. But my question is always, how would you really like to be perceived? You and only you. And sometimes those answers are not as warm and cozy as the words that you
No.
just shared, right? Because some people are honest and say, I want to be perceived as powerful. I want to be perceived as influential. I want to be perceived as wealthy. So it's important to be true to yourself and really pick a term that describes the true essence of the first impression that you would like to make currently, because that obviously can change over time.
So can I give you 3 new words? I'm going to change my mind.
Yes.
I want to be perceived as funny,
Mm-hmm.
as quirky,
Mm-hmm.
and as unfiltered.
Unfiltered. Good. So funny and quirky probably go into the same kind of category. So I would then ask you to find a different word. And we need to see and compare if there is a gap between your perception and the perception of the market. Meaning in the second step, we need to explore, what do your clients actually want to see in you instantly? How would they like to be perceived, their picture perfect business partner? And I bring a lot of research into my work where I asked people, what is the number one word that comes to your mind when you think of the picture perfect doctor, the picture perfect teacher, the picture perfect police officer, your picture perfect financial manager or coach, right? And consultant. And the words are quite different, because if I work with somebody who takes care of my health, I expect that I instantly feel that they care about me. If I work with somebody who takes care of my finances, I want to instantly trust them. If I work with somebody in the luxury space, for example, retail, the word is different. And if I work with somebody in a creative space, that word is different too. And so then we compare those words and see, is it really helpful, as if you are in a role as a doctor, for example, to be funny and quirky? And there will be moments where this is important, but what are the occasions where you maybe rather leverage your third word or fill up the gap a little bit? And in order to instantly imprint those words or the gap in between, as I said, I use a model, the ABCDE. And if you don't mind, I quickly walk you through it, what those
please.
characters mean.
I'd love it. Please share with us.
The A stands for your appearance, the way you look. Like it or not, humans are visual creatures. The brain is lazy, as I said. That's also why it just takes a shortcut through the eyes. And we just look at people and we think we know something about them. So I would ask you, as my client, what in your appearance instantly imprints that you are funny and quirky? Now, I wouldn't go this far that I want to see you, for example, in a clown costume, but there are small elements, details like accessories or things, in your appearance that you possibly can adjust a little bit to instantly create that perception of you. But it's not just about clothing. Your appearance also has a lot to do with your body image. Are you tall? Are you short? Are you overweight? Are you underweight? Do you take care of your body? And obviously your clothing, the hair, your accessories, the shoes, everything that people actually see. And looking good is great, but it's not enough, because then you are going to be for behave at one point. So the B stands for the behavior, and that includes first and foremost your attitude. When you show up every single day, is it positive? Is it negative? And if it's positive, has it some kind of funny and quirky elements, like in your case? But also your emotional intelligence. Do you have charisma? Do you walk into a room and everybody instantly sees you? How about your ethics and morals? How about your diplomacy? Back then we called it business etiquette skills. Do you shake hands? Do you smile if you meet somebody? Or in your phone, do you let people sit down first and last? And after your behavior comes the C for communication. And the most important part of communication is actually not speaking. It doesn't include any words. It is listening. Are you a good listener, an active listener? And listening is very different from hearing. Hearing just means that you receive sound waves, but with listening, you really listen to the needs from the person in front of you. And then the other non-verbal signals that you send, your body language, your facial expressions, and obviously at one point you're going to open your mouth. So your voice is a very powerful tool. It's like an instrument that you play every single day, but most of us don't learn how to play that instrument. We just play it. Your language palette, your word patterns. Do you have an accent, for example? And what does your communication say about you in person or also in written form? And then I added the D for your digital presence. Because as I said, nowadays, most interactions are not formed or are not happening anymore in person. Constantly you are sending out emails, and those emails could get forwarded and forwarded and forwarded, and people create an opinion about you, and you don't even know that this opinion is based on an email that you haven't even written to them. What would I find about you on social media if I Google your name? What about virtual meetings? What about text messaging? And what about all the technologies that are currently coming our way? And lastly, your E for your environment. And that includes the non-living and living elements of your environment. With the living elements, I refer to your friends, your colleagues, your family, the people you hang out with, your network, either personal or professional. What do they say about you when I look at your, network of friends and colleagues? And do you reflect the values that are important for you onto them as well? But also, the non-living things, your office, your car, the hobbies that you have, the vacations you go on. And more you share about this environment, the more people take this into consideration too. And it's important to understand that not one of those elements, neither the A, B, C, D, E, is more important than the other. They all matter because they have to work together consistently. I cannot look quirky but behave boring, right? I cannot be the super quirky and funny person online, and when people meet me in person, I am a totally different person.
It's so fascinating. I think as you go through all the letters, I'm trying to go in my head the things that I think I do correctly for perception, right? And I got to, and I don't have a good demonstration of it today, but I actually own scrubs that have sparkles and bling on them.
See?
Because normally in public you would see me in fringe and lace and all kinds of fun things, and yet in a medical office, I don't know, right? That portrays the right thing. But when a patient walks in and sees me in sparkly scrubs, they may get a little bit more of that fun aspect, right? Versus, not that I'm putting down stuffy physicians, but let's put down stuffy physicians for example. And we were even talking about this offline a little bit. You walk into a doctor's office in the 3-piece suit that costs more than what you're wearing. Maybe the price tag for what you're going to get done is a little out of range. So
yes.
I do think about those things. And appearance is at least an easy one to affect, I think. I think some of the other ones that you throw out, behavior, and sometimes even who you surround yourself with can be a little bit of a challenge, right? To revisit and figure out what's serving you and what isn't. I have a lot to work on, Sylvie.
No, you're doing great. But as you said, your visual presence is like a filter that is in front of you. And that's the easiest to change. And also the most powerful ones, because if you walk into a room and meet somebody for the first time, during those first seconds, no matter if it's 7 or 3, you can't say great things, right? You can't instantly showcase that you are an amazing doctor. You can't present your skills, your knowledge instantly. All that people do is look at you, and it's your first huge opportunity to already project the things that you would like to project. Now, does it mean for everybody luxury suits? No, it doesn't. You create your very own style with intention and with the knowledge that you are sending messages with it.
I think it's interesting because I make the same judgment with patients. And it's fascinating. I'll have patients that walk in and they sit real close to the door like they need an escape, and the arms are closed. So they're already, right? They're already blocking, any sort of recommendations or information. They're already resistant. And, sometimes you can see how that stays up, that wall stays up throughout the whole visit. And my impression is always that patient doesn't really want my advice. They don't really want to get well. And sometimes by the end of the visit, they've actually changed that whole behavior, that whole appearance. Arms are down, they'll lean in a little bit more to have the conversation. And now I'm getting a connection, right? So it's fascinating to think about how all of those things, one, how we judge, but then how it's a reflection back on ourselves as to how we want to be portrayed. I love this, Sylvie. I think that this is just really, really fascinating, cool information. So hang on. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back. We're going to do something fun. And then we're going to follow up at the end with how you can get in touch with Sylvie if you want to learn more about what she's talking about. We'll be right back. Listen to those sponsors again. They're important people to me. Hang tight. This is your weekly dose of Dr. Cindy, the Positively Altered podcast. Starting your weekend out right with Dr. Cindy and the Positively Altered podcast. Welcome back. This has been so much fun. I almost feel like we need to have Sylvie back. So maybe one day, Sylvie, we can get you rescheduled because there's such great information here. But we're going to switch gears a little bit and we're going to move to the end of what I normally do with our podcast. And that is I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions.
Oh,
Just answer them, Sylvie, right? Whatever
okay.
first comes to mind. All right. We're going to have a little bit of fun. You ready?
Yes.
Okay. First question. People usually ask you if there was one famous person on the planet you wanted to have lunch with. I actually really don't care who that is. I want to know what kind of food you're going to eat with that person.
Lobster.
Lobster. Ooh, that's going to be an expensive lunch.
Yeah.
Awesome. Then let's tie in the drinks. If you were going to order a drink, would it be sweet, sour, or strong?
It would always be Sauvignon Blanc, a special Sauvignon Blanc Sancerre, because it comes from a region that is near and dear to my heart.
Oh my gosh, like here's a woman that knows what she wants, right? I was going to just stop at the strong, sweet, and sour, and you gave me like the exact recipe. So if you're having lunch with Sylvie, you know what kind of alcohol to bring. All right, third question. If you could make snow any color in the world, what color would you pick?
Transparent, invisible.
How would we know it's there?
No, because I don't like snow. That's why I moved to sunny Florida.
But maybe if it was your favorite color, Sylvie, you could identify it with it. But
Yeah,
no.
but you lost me at snow.
Oh, okay, that's fair. I'm going to put money on the fact that nobody's ever going to answer that question with transparent ever again. We're going to see. Okay. And if they do, I'm going to connect you because then you're going to be like, sisters from another mother.
Yeah.
I don't even know how that saying goes. Okay. Fourth question. We got two more. So this rapid fire is turning into a little bit longer. So fourth question. If you were going to participate in the Olympics and could do any sport you wanted, what sport would you pick?
Flying.
Flying? What would you
Flying. I would just
fly?
create my own category and fly.
Oh my gosh, Sylvie, you're killing me here and in a
Yeah.
really good way. I love these answers. See, this is quirky and fun and
Yeah.
unique. I love it. This is why I really enjoy it. Okay, lastly, this one hopefully is really easy. What was your favorite thing about doing the podcast today?
It was a nice reminder of the fantastic book that you gifted me when we met first. And if listeners haven't gotten a copy yet, I highly, highly, highly recommend to grab one too.
Oh my gosh, you are so sweet. And by the way, that was mutual because you gifted me a copy back as well. And I absolutely love it. So here's the deal. My favorite thing about this podcast today was the reconnection to relearn what you have already taught me. And sometimes we need to hear things multiple times in order to facilitate that in our life. So you have given me an enormous gift by sharing this with our listeners today. I hope everybody out there, as a result, has been positively altered. All right, Sylvie, we're wrapping up. Please share with the audience. How can we find the book? How do we get a hold of you? How do we become a client? Give us what we need to know before we let everybody go.
Thank you very much. If you want to find anything about me, just Google my name on the internet. It's a very unique one. And if you don't find me on the internet, chances are you don't have internet access. So you're going to find my social media, you're going to find my website, and hopefully also some of my books. The book that brought Dr. Cindy and me together is actually a book I originally wrote 10 years ago. And now we all know that 10 years in book years are like dog years. So it was time for an update. And this year I'm releasing 10 special editions to celebrate the 10th anniversary. There is a special edition for women, there's a special edition for sales, there's a special edition for real estate and so on. But most importantly, there is a special edition for healthcare professionals and all the heroes out there that take care of us, our families, and our health.
I love it. And that's the version that I have. So please pick up a copy, learn something really amazing from our guest today, Sylvie di Giusto. I lost the Italian accent. I think I picked up something along the way. If you want to join my community, please reach out to drcindyspeaks.com, or you can email us at hello@drcindyspeaks.com if you'd also love to be considered for a guest. Sylvie, this was great. I hope one day to have you back. I know we're going to keep crossing paths. And by the way, you have definitely allowed me to become positively altered hanging out with you. All right, everybody, have a fabulous time. We will see you next time. I am out. This is Dr. Cindy.